Why are you here? Why are you here? Is this just going to be another training, going through the motions, another sales trader? I already know everything about selling. I don't need to know anything about selling. Or are you here to acquire a much higher sales ability? Why are you here? Type in skills in the chat, since we're virtual here, if you're here to start acquiring the right skills that work with human behavior so you start selling more. You start making more money and you help your prospects get what they want. Type in skills if that's you. Now, if I asked you to describe the word sales, or if I asked you to describe selling in one word, what would that word be? Type in the chat. If I asked you to describe the word selling in one word, what would that word be? Type it in the chat. What would it be? All right, I'm seeing some responses. Seeing a bunch of skills there. We're getting behind. Why? Okay. What if we took everything you just put in there, because some of you possibly know what we're talking about, and we've serving, okay, I love that. Persuasion, solutions, here we are, relationships, perspective, persuasion, offer, enrollment, convince. What if we took all of that, because I agree with all of that, and we just put it in one word, and that word was change. All selling is change. That's it. All selling is about one thing only, and that's change. So whether your prospects are wanting something better or they're moving away from pain, it's all about change. It's about how good you are at getting your prospects to view that in their mind, that by them changing their situation, that means going solar in your situation. But by them doing that, by changing their situation, for them is far less risky than them doing nothing at all, staying in the status quo, their problems stay the same, and nothing ever changes. Which is more risky? Now here's your problem though. Somebody posted in there. Human beings don't like change. What? Let me go through that again. All selling is change, yet human beings don't like change. And why do we not like change? Well, we especially don't like it when it's initiated by some pushy salesperson who's ready to pitch their products or services quickly in a conversation. And repeatedly human behavior shows that we value something that is familiar to us, even if we don't like it that much, over something that is new, something that is foreign to us. Now, in the chats, or actually just, I can see a lot of you, raise your hand if you know someone that's just in a bad relationship. They're in a bad, they're dating somebody that's just not very good for them. They're not being treated nice. There might even be verbal abuse, physical abuse, a whole nother thing. But raise your hand if you know somebody that's just in a bad relationship. I think everybody knows somebody, right? Or relative or somebody. Have you ever wondered why they keep going back in that relationship? Well, it's because they're afraid of what? They're afraid of change. They're afraid of the unknown. Do you see what we're talking about? See, that's what you're going up against every single prospect to some degree that you're talking to. Okay, so how do we help your prospects that you're talking to on a daily basis overcome the fear of the unknown, overcome the fear of change? It's quite simple. Okay, the first part is we have to understand you're not selling the thing. You're selling the results of what that thing does. Now, in your case, since you're selling solar, you're not selling them solar. You're not selling them solar panels, like some cool solar panels. You're selling them the results of what going solar does for them. You're selling them from, having to pay rate hikes, like protecting themselves from paying the rate hikes. You're selling them on a locked-in rate. You're selling them on a lower bill. You're selling them on eventually not having a bill. That's what you're selling. You're selling them the results of what solar does once they have solar, not the thing itself. Are you with me? Now, here's a question I have for each of you. We all hear on the news, we watch the news, CNN, current negative news, Fox News, whoever your favorite people are, okay? We all hear economists talking about this, coming crash or, recession or whatever. And you're going to start seeing what happened. You're going to see a lot of corporate downsizing, right? And where do you think all those people who get downsized are going to go try to get a job? Usually in straight commission jobs, like solar. So there's going to be a lot more salespeople that come into solar over the next year or two. You're going to have a lot more competition. So how will you, watching me here right now in this black shirt, how are you going to have a competitive advantage over everyone else in the next 12 months? How? How are you going to have a competitive advantage? If you keep saying the same thing, keep asking the same questions, what type of results are you going to get? The same results you've got, right? Here's what's going to do it for you. The ones who will own this upcoming market, of you watching me here right now, I can already tell you, the ones who will own this upcoming market are the ones who know how to best communicate with their prospects, period. The ones who know what to say and ask that will cause their prospects to want to open up, to want to engage, rather than staying surface level and trying to get rid of you. Now, what's going to give you that competitive advantage? How are you going to stand out in the market? How are you going to be different than everybody else? The next three things. Today I'm going to go over the 3 steps to becoming the trusted authority, the expert, and dominate your market in the next 12 months. Number 1, you might want to write these down. Number 1, becoming a problem finder and problem solver, not a product pusher. Product pushers don't make that much money anymore. That's what average salespeople do. Number 2, asking the right questions, but at the right time. Now, the questions you're asking right now, how do you know they're the right questions? How do you know when to ask them? Are you asking them at the right time? How do you know if you are? And especially, how are you asking the question? How does your tone sound? How does delivery sound? Because there's certain questions in your sales process that requires more of a curious tone. John, can you walk me through? That's a curious tone. There's other questions in your sales process that require more of a skeptical or challenging tone. Well, what happens if you don't? That's a skeptical, that's a challenging tone. And there's other questions in your sales process that requires more of a concerned tone. A tone that shows more empathy. John, what's really holding you back from moving forward? See, that's a concerned tone. So how do you know when to change your tone? Could that be possibly important for you to sell more? And number 3, this is probably the most important, is eliminating sales resistance so your prospects let their guard down and become open to what you're talking about rather than staying surface level and trying to get rid of you. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you a little bit of my background.